Things at Ibrox have been nothing short of chaotic in these early stages of the season, and while most of the heat has been focused on the team's underwhelming performances, a new spotlight is now fixed firmly at the very top of the Rangers' hierarchy. Chairman Andrew Kavanagh is no longer just a name behind the scenes. He's become a central figure in a club fighting to steady itself both on and off the pitch. With tensions boiling over, protests erupting in the stands, and the pressure mounting from every direction, the presence of Kavanagh in Glasgow this week feels far from routine. This is no symbolic visit. This is a man stepping into the fire. Kavanagh's arrival coincided with Rangers finally managing to break a brutal 6-game winless run. The 2-0 victory over Hibernian in the Premier Sports Cup quarterfinal may have eased some nerves, but the atmosphere around Ibrox remains thick with frustration and mistrust. That one didn't silence the supporters. It merely gave them a brief reprieve. And even then, the match was disrupted by protests, banners, and hundreds of rubber balls raining down onto the pitch from the Union Bears, making their anger toward manager Russell Martin and CEO Patrick Stewart impossible to ignore. The chants were explicit. The message was loud. The board has a crisis on its hands, and now the fans are demanding answers. Kavanagh witnessed all of it, not just from the director's box. He felt the full force of what it means when the Ibrox faithful turn. And yet, despite the uproar, the word from inside the club is that he continues to back Martin. There's no suggestion of an imminent managerial change, even though Rangers are sitting 11th in the Scottish Premiership table, a position that would be unthinkable just a couple of seasons ago. A planned board meeting, scheduled for the same day as Rangers' Europa League opener against Genk, is expected to reinforce that stance. The chairman is staying the course, at least for now. It's a bold, and some might say risky, decision. Martin's tenure so far has been marred by inconsistency, tactical confusion, and a squad still searching for rhythm. But if Kavanagh is determined to give his man time, then Saturday's result has to be more than just a temporary relief. It has to be the beginning of a real turnaround. And to his credit, Martin didn't shy away from the reality. He called the win a starting point, not a celebration. "We have to get better. We have to win more games," he said after the match. There's no false bravado here. He knows what's at stake. He knows the fans are on edge. And now, as Rangers dive into European competition, the stakes only get higher. What makes all of this more intriguing is the history Rangers have in the Europa League. No matter how poor domestic form has been in recent years, there's always been something about European nights under the lights at Ibrox that brings the best out of the squad. In 2022, they went all the way to the final. Last season, they made it to the quarterfinals. That pedigree isn't lost on Martin. He spoke of the excitement, the potential, and the unique energy that these nights can bring. It's a platform, not just for redemption, but for re-establishing the identity of this team. Martin believes in the group, or at least he says he does, and now it's time for that belief to translate into performances that command respect. But belief alone isn't going to be enough. The supporters have made it clear that they want more than promises. They want results, passion, and a plan. And while Martin has tried to shift the narrative back onto the team and away from himself, the truth is this: when things go wrong at a club like Rangers, the manager becomes the lightning rod. That's the reality. "It's become about me, not by my choice," he said. And he's not wrong. But this is part of the job, especially at Ibrox, where expectations are sky high and patience is always in short supply. In the middle of this storm, there is at least one bright spark emerging, and that's Theo Isgaard. The young Norwegian has taken time to settle after his summer move from Luton Town, but now he's starting to show exactly why Rangers were willing to pay £3.5 million for his services. His performance against Hibs was sharp, creative, and full of the energy that's been missing in midfield for far too long. Deployed in the number 10 role, Isgaard looked like the kind of player who can unlock defenses and inject some much-needed flair into this team's attacking play. And it's not just club form that's boosting his confidence. Earlier in September, Isgaard scored 4 goals for Norway in their demolition of Moldova. That kind of momentum can be transformative for a young player, and the timing couldn't be better for Rangers. With Lyle Cameron offering flashes but lacking consistency, Isgaard's emergence feels like the answer to a question that's been lingering for a while. His father even spoke recently about how frustrating it was for Theo to pick up an injury just before the season started. derailing his debut against Panathinaikos. But now, that frustration is turning into fuel. And if the Ibrox crowd can get behind him, Asgard might just become a fan favorite faster than anyone expected. Alongside Asgard, Nicholas Raskin made a welcome return to the starting 11 and capped it off with a goal. Used in the deeper number 6 role, a position Martin has hesitated to put him in, Raskin looked comfortable, composed, and crucially, effective. That switch might also help unlock the best of Mohamed Diamand, who has struggled at times this season, often because of the midfield imbalance around him. Suddenly, there's the shape of a midfield trio that makes sense. Raskin holding, Diamand as the box-to-box engine, and Asgard pulling the strings further forward. It's early days, but it's a setup that fans can finally get behind. Still, this is Rangers, and nothing is ever simple. One win doesn't fix a disastrous start to the season. This is the club's worst league opening since 1978. That fact alone would be enough to have any manager under pressure. But with protests intensifying, European games looming, and a fan base more vocal than ever, the margin for error is razor thin. Andrew Kavanagh's backing of Martin is clear, for now. But in football, especially at a club of this size, support is always conditional. Results change everything. And while Kavanagh might be aiming for long-term stability, the noise around Ibrox won't quiet down unless that belief is matched by points on the board and performances that earn pride. So, as the chairman prepares to wrap up his week-long visit to Glasgow, all eyes now turn to tonight's Europa League clash with Genk. It's a test, not just of tactics or talent, but of resilience, character, and unity. Can Martin get this squad to play with the kind of purpose that makes Ibrox roar again? Can players like Asgard and Raskin turn potential into leadership on the pitch? And most importantly, can Kavanagh's vision survive the pressure cooker of Scottish football, where nothing less than success is ever accepted? As the floodlights flicker on at Ibrox and the anticipation builds in the air, there's a sense that tonight's clash carries more weight than just a group stage fixture in the Europa League. It's not just about facing Genk. It's about showing the fans, the critics, and themselves that this team has the fight to rise from a nightmare start and reclaim some dignity. Russell Martin knows the eyes are on him, maybe more than ever. The pressure isn't just hanging in the air, it's suffocating. Every misplaced pass, every missed chance, and every tactical choice is under the microscope. And with Andrew Kavanagh sitting in the stands, watching closely, this isn't just a football match. It's a performance review on the biggest possible stage. But that's exactly what can make a European night at Ibrox so special. When the stakes are high and the expectations even higher, this ground can turn into a fortress. It's happened before. Fans will remember the roar when Rangers knocked out Borussia Dortmund. They'll remember the relentless energy that pushed the team to the final in Seville just a few seasons ago. These are the moments that define this club. And for all the current unrest, for all the frustration that's boiled over in recent weeks, there's still that flicker of belief that under the right conditions, something magical can happen here again. The squad, for all its inconsistencies, isn't short of talent. What's been missing is cohesion, a sense of identity and direction. That's what Martin has failed to stamp on this group so far. But the signs against Hibernian, however small, hinted that perhaps things are starting to shift. Players looked sharper. There was urgency, movement, and most importantly, end product. Nico Raskin's return brought balance. Theo Asgard's influence in the final third offered hope. And Boyaski's goal was a reminder that the team can find the net when they commit with purpose. But it's also clear that one performance doesn't wipe the slate clean. The protests weren't just about results. They were about a lack of vision, a lack of leadership. And fans haven't forgotten that. The Union Bears made their point, and they made it loudly. Rubber balls on the pitch, chants echoing through the stands. It wasn't subtle. It was raw frustration from supporters who feel ignored and who believe the soul of the club is being mishandled by those at the top. That's the temperature Martin and Kavanagh are trying to manage right now. And it's a dangerous game when supporters start to believe they've been pushed to the margins. What happens tonight could swing momentum in either direction. A convincing win would go a long way to restoring some trust. It wouldn't fix everything, but it would give Martin the breathing room he desperately needs. It would give the players a sense of belief. And it might even allow Kavanagh to look back on his trip to Glasgow with something close to optimism. But a defeat, or worse, Another performance full of errors and indecision would pour petrol on an already raging fire. This isn't just a group stage. This is a tipping point. And it's not just the manager under scrutiny. Patrick Stewart, the chief executive, has also become a lightning rod for fan anger. He's seen as part of a leadership group that's out of touch and out of ideas. That's why Kavanagh's visit has taken on such significance. His public silence has frustrated many, but now, just by being here, he's placed himself directly in the eye of the storm. The expectation is no longer just about football results. It's about accountability. If Martin is staying, then supporters want to know why. They want clarity. They want a plan. The backdrop to all of this is a squad that's still trying to find its rhythm. Injuries, unsettled tactics, and players being shifted around positions have all contributed to the mess. But finally, there's a glimpse of structure. If Martin can stick with the midfield core of Raskin, Diamand, and Isgard, there's a foundation to build on. It's not just about individuals, it's about chemistry. And that's been sorely lacking until now. Raskin anchoring the midfield allows others to breathe. Diamand, once lost in the shuffle, suddenly looks like he could rediscover his box-to-box dominance. And Isgard, well, he's becoming the wild card that Rangers desperately needed. The 23-year-old's quick rise has felt like a rare bit of good fortune in a season where almost everything else has gone wrong. From a frustrating injury setback to now being spoken about as the creative spark of the team, his trajectory is one the fans are getting behind. That counts for something. Supporters want to believe in players who give everything, who wear the badge with pride. And when they see that spark, that bit of flair that gets them off their seats, it reminds them what this club can still be. Isgard has that potential, and he's showing it at the right time. Martin, for all the pressure, has done well not to crumble under the scrutiny. He's kept his head down, spoken openly about the situation, and tried to focus on football. But this is a results business. He knows that. Everyone does. No manager survives a prolonged dip at Ibrox. The standards are too high, the history too heavy. He's been given time, more than some expected, and now he has to show that it wasn't misplaced faith. Back-to-back wins could shift the mood. A strong Europa League campaign could buy him more space to implement his vision. But there are no guarantees. Not in this city. Not with this club. As kickoff approaches, there's a strange tension in the air. Hope mixed with doubt. Faith battling fear. Ibrox will be full, as always. The banners will fly. The songs will echo into the night. But beneath it all, there's a nervousness that hasn't gone away. The supporters want to believe, but they've been burned before. And the margin between a revival and a collapse is razor thin. Tonight isn't about trophies. It's about turning a corner. It's about giving people a reason to look forward again. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications to get all the exclusive news about Rangers FC. Don't overlook any details about your beloved team. It's crucial for Rangers FC fans. In the pubs of Glasgow and far beyond, there's only one name on everyone's lips this week: Kieran Tierney. A move once deemed unthinkable has set the Scottish game alight. Rangers, in a shock twist that has rattled the footballing landscape across Europe, are said to have secured Tierney as the new crown jewel of their squad. The former Celtic prodigy, long considered untouchable in Parkhead folklore, has now crossed the divide in a manner that feels almost cinematic, almost too bold to believe. Whispers of the deal began quietly, surfacing in scattered conversations among agents and insiders, but few dared take it seriously. Tierney, after all, had become a symbol at Celtic before his high-profile move to Arsenal, and more recently his spell abroad. Yet the rumor has gained such force that it no longer feels like idle talk. Within Ibrox, the corridors are said to be buzzing, staff unable to hide their excitement at what could be the most seismic signing in modern Scottish football. For Rangers supporters, the story reads like a dream, the kind usually reserved for transfer gossip columns in Madrid or Milan. A Scotland international, still in his prime years, choosing to don the light blue jersey is more than just a coup on the pitch. It's a statement, a roar of ambition that signals Rangers' intent not merely to dominate domestically, but to send a shockwave across continental competition. Inevitably, the reaction from the green half of the city has been explosive. For Celtic fans, Tierney remains a hero of the terraces, a boyhood supporter who once embodied their values. The thought of him now parading out at Ibrox has sparked a mixture of disbelief, anger, and, for some, sheer heartbreak. The rivalry was always fierce, but this saga has added a layer of drama rarely seen even in the fevered history of the old firm. Beyond the tribal lines of Glasgow, European observers are taking notice. Rangers have, in recent seasons, flirted with continental respectability, but Tierney's arrival, if confirmed, could elevate them into a new echelon. His dynamism at left back, his leadership, his Champions League pedigree, these are qualities that can transform a team's fortunes. Nothing is official yet, though the rumor feels like more than smoke. In Scotland, football thrives on mythology and stories told with passion. Tierney to Rangers may prove to be the wildest of them all, or, just maybe, the dawn of a new chapter that will echo far beyond Glasgow's borders. Greetings, fans. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, as it's greatly appreciated by Rangers FC. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments section below. Until the next video, stay tuned.